We're going to do the baptism, and then we're going to sing one more song to celebrate. And just very quickly, what is baptism? Well, Jesus was baptized, and the Bible describes to us that baptism, we have this baptism tank over here filled with water, that this is like a grave. That when someone believes in Jesus, what happens is they're told to be baptized, and you get laid in a watery grave to symbolize that this is your old life. You have died to yourself. You've been crucified with Christ. You've been buried in the tomb with Jesus. You are dead. To everything that came before, it's gone. And then thankfully you're pulled up out of the water. And that's resurrection. That's coming back out of the grave with Jesus, alive forevermore, unified with him. And it's a powerful step of obedience to take in front of the church family to declare complete allegiance to Jesus. So we're going to welcome up Cassia today, who's new amongst us, who's going to come on. She's going to share her testimony. Let's give her a hand.
Hi, nice to meet you all. Life before dedicating my life to Jesus was empty and meaningless. I was a depressed hermit. I'd been battling a vape addiction for 3 years. The thought of actually quitting seemed unthinkable, impossible. In May of this year, I had the first candid conversation about my addiction with my mom. It was the most honest I'd ever been. I'm 21. To her, and the most honest I'd been to her and myself. I knew I needed to stop, but part of me didn't even think I could. My mom's advice, who's a very devout Christian, was to just quit on the spot. She said, with the Lord, I could do it myself. Me, I negotiated. It was a Monday, so I negotiated for Friday. I said, Friday, I'll quit, cold turkey. And I did, for 10 hours, and then I went and bought another one. For the next 3 weeks of May of this year, I was battling with myself. There were some days where I'd be vape-free, but very irritable, and other days where I would be looking over my shoulder, hoping no one would catch me while I took another puff. On May 30th, I finally came and told God that I was going to quit. You can tell how this went. But this, spoiler alert, this did not end like the other quitting attempts did. I quit for around 12 hours, went and bought another one, but for the next 3 days, I was sleep deprived. I had my addiction, I had my fix, but I could not sleep for 3 days straight. I had a total of 8 hours of sleep. It was terrible. And I wondered, suddenly, maybe I'm being punished. It wasn't until I heard, now you can't sleep, now you won't be at peace, coming from my own mouth, that I finally realized what I'd done. I'd taken God's loving nature and grace for granted. In the subsequent 20 minutes, I'd made a trash run, called my sister, devoted my life to Jesus, and finally fell asleep. It was the best sleep I had ever had in my life. I am now around 130 days sober, so you can tell how this went. And let me see. Looking back, that night reminded me of Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 to 30, which is, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." I literally came to Jesus, and he gave me rest. June 2nd was the day Christ changed my life. God has done more for me in these past 3 or 4 months than I could do and accomplish in the last 3 years. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Jesus, my mom who prayed for me without ceasing, my grandma, my older sister, Yamima. Thank you.